People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good old Soho Square. Apologies for the wind. Apologies for my eyes watering. People, I'm not gonna lie. All the bombers. It's cold, people. It is a blitz. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know who told me to wear ripped jeans today. Bit of a silly decision, Mustafi decision making. No disrespect to the guy, but this is what I'd call as being reactive and not proactive. It's a good thing I'm not in Arsenal centre halves department, and it's a good thing Arsenal aren't trying to bring me in to be a defender, because it's a terrible decision making on the ball from myself. A rare error from me. If I was a footballer, I can't lie, due to my work rate and my content, banter aside, I'd be world class, man. Like, let me be humble. I don't think much of myself, but I think I'd be a certain Lionel Messi. But on a serious note, banter aside, people, let's crack on with why we're here. You don't know, I'm actually not that full of myself. Who else should I be full of though, really? But moving forward, I'd like to speak about FEKIR. Now, obviously, because of he's been doing all right in La Liga at Betis since he's joined there. I'm sure you all saw his latest game against Barcelona, where he played quite well. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, he scored. Yeah, obviously, most fans are going to sit there and say, not just Arsenal, but everybody's like, oh, FEKIR, man, why is it Betis? Let's go for him and blah, blah, blah. And I feel the same way a bit. I'm not going to lie. You lot know me. I'm a big fan of FEKIR. You lot too. We've been big fans. He's come a long way from, he's had, what, 2 serious injuries, I think, off the top of my head in his career. Obviously, he had the Liverpool move. It didn't bang. We'll get onto that. But the Liverpool move didn't bang for whatever reason. And I mean, he could have been the creative spark they're missing, because if you were to really force it and scrutinise that Liverpool side and say, how would you improve? You'd probably say potentially bringing 2 out-and-out fullbacks to, you know, I'd say more so on the left-hand side to challenge Robertson. Right back, what, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's Milner or Gomez if Trent's not about. So potentially that, maybe a striker again. I'm not going to get into the front three debate. Maybe an attacking midfielder or a central base midfielder whose strengths are the creative sense. Could you imagine if Liverpool had Pogba or Kevin De Bruyne, you get what I'm saying, as opposed to a midfield three of potentially Fabinho, Henderson and Wijnaldum? No disrespect to any 3 of them, because Wijnaldum, I think he's the most underrated player within that Liverpool side, personally, of any capacity. Obviously, Henderson, he's not a glamorous footballer, but you cannot underestimate what he gives their side in terms of consistency and standing up to be counted. And Fabinho, you know, Fabinho's a very good player and he does his job. And whatnot in that regards. But you could imagine someone like Pogba, or not to keep saying Pogba, or Kevin De Bruyne, they take it up a level. They're probably the only ways you could benefit that Liverpool side, and FEKIR could have been that. For whatever reason, he didn't go to Liverpool, and in his own words, he said a lot, but I just got these. He said, what was said was not the truth. My knee is good. I had a medical check at Clairefontaine, which is France's training base. I can't be sure, but wasn't his transfer around the time it was international call-up times. He said, my knee wasn't mentioned. You want the truth? Even I don't know. I promise you, I did my medical, and then Liverpool decided not to sign me. At some point, they wanted me to believe it was because of my knee, but an excuse needed to be found. And we'll never find the truth. You actually even saw leaked images of him signing the kit. Now, something has to have got word to Liverpool in that regard, whether it was the coaching staff, medical staff, maybe a legit change of heart from Klopp. Maybe there was a next signing that was trying to bang and it didn't work. It didn't work out, and they cancelled FEKIR, and there's a bit of egg on their face. I don't know, but there's got to have been something, because Liverpool, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I know he joined what I'd call a cut price move to Betis. What was it, 20 million euros or something like that? I'm sure it was big money to go to Liverpool, so surely that outlay, the amount of scouting they've got to do, something has got to have got word to Liverpool in regards to an injury. Maybe they received word that your knee was a bit mad, then you think it's fine. These things happen in football. He won't be the first, and he's definitely not going to be the last player to see a medical or a move not happen to a potential club because of such. But there's got to have been something, and what leads me to believe there's got to have been something, whether it's his injuries or something else, maybe it's advisors, maybe it's the true outlay. But you don't go from getting linked with Liverpool to, no disrespect to Betis, for 20 odd million compared to what he was going to go Liverpool for, about anything from 70 to 90. So mad money, people, forgive me if I'm wrong. And he went for a cut price. Obviously the season before he went to Betis, I think by his own admission, he probably dropped off a bit, but he's still a decent player. And he's finding his feet again. And Betis, they're going to make a pretty little outlay on him. They signed him for, what, 20 million euros or 19.75. They're definitely going to double that minimum. And they've got a little system, because you look at Lo Celso, I don't know how much they pay PSG for him, but Spurs have just made his deal permanent. What's that, a 40-something? And in the meantime, obviously, he was a good player for them. And obviously Fekir could be someone. Obviously the injuries, or when you think of Fekir, I think of someone who, I think he's changed his game. He's more comes short to the ball, and he's a very technical based player. He's capable of doing random stuff, like he can bang it from 30 yards and score. He's got good set pieces. He's truly a maverick. I did think before his injury, when I first was seeing him on for Lyon, and he was predominantly on the flanks, I do think he's still quick, but I don't know if it's the injuries, but I think he's lost a bit of pace for me. But he's still a good player, people. And surely, 27 years of age, we've got a lot of French speakers. Again, maybe if you put 40, 50 on the table for him, you know, Betis might let that happen. Surely there's something to be said there. There's actually been rumours he was going to Betis for a year or so and then was making the move to Barcelona. I don't know how true that is, but there was a rumour of that happening. And you look at his statistics this season, people. In all comps, he's played 20 games, scoring 6 goals and getting 3 assists. Obviously, that's not too mad, but 19 appearances have been in La Liga, and he's got 6 goals, 3 assists. To make him look a bit better, he's got a goal contribution of 9 goals. He's contributed to 9 goals in 19 assists. It's not the worst, and it's not, you know, it's a madness, because the one creative player I think's been head and shoulders great in La Liga is probably Odegaard. Sociedad have done quite well. They got that Dortmund lad on loan. What's his face, man? You don't know I'm talking about, the Swedish striker, and he's been on a couple loans. He seems to be finding his feet still. So that could be someone. We know we need to look at the creative void in this team, and you've heard already, Arteta is prioritising a number 6. So we could assume a DM or a box-to-box, and he also wants a creative midfielder of some sort, which we do need, as well as a centre-half. So there is something. Obviously, these players are a bit young, and I'm going to keep beating a dead horse, but I have to keep plugging them. Mohamed Ittaren, 17. I've seen he's moved agents to Renola. Now, when you've got Mino Renola, you're normally in line for a big move or a big contract. He's 17. He's made how many appearances? 19 appearances, and he's only got 4 assists and 3 goals, so it's not the biggest. But I believe we need to get someone who can hit the ground running, but I believe between Mohamed Ittaren, Nancy Unova, who's made a couple appearances for Ajax, Ryan Cherky, I can never say his name, the lad at Lyon, 16 years of age, we've got to be bringing one of these men in. And the exception, I will say, is completely different skill set, but Jude Bellingham of Birmingham, I don't want us to miss out on one of these sort of men. He's a bit older, or these two players are a bit older, and I know Jari Vestashen of Anderlecht had a serious injury, but he might be someone which I think he's got a lot of potential, and he can be a decent player, and I think he'll be in the Premier League. Considering his injury and the club he plays for, we might be able to get a bit of a deal there. Do you get it? He's 18, he's had a serious injury, so you can't expect too many fireworks. And you lot know me, I'm a big fan of Yacine Adli of Bordeaux, formerly of Lyon. I've been looking at his Lyon, I'm bugging out about Lyon. PSG, sorry people, I always get these. Oh God, pagans! You see these pictures are on man again. But we can't. I think we've got to look at these lot as well. If it was up to me, I've said it in a previous video, I'd love Hossein Aouar. I think he could be that creative void, and he can do the deep line, and he can do playing further forward. Arguably his stock is potentially of its lowest it's been since he's burst in the first team, because he hasn't been playing as well as he has been. Still going to cost 40 to 50 million, to be honest. And if we can bring in 2 midfielders, like I just said, Zachariah or something off the top of my head. Apologies for the wind, people. If you can't hear me, let me make sure I'm talking close. Apologies for the zooming in. Apologies, I really apologize. Sorry. It's probably 2 midfielders. We're going to set us back 100, maybe 120, 150, really, because money doesn't go too far these days in football. I apologise for the wind, people. And I'm really trying to talk louder, because sometimes you'll say you can't hear me. But yeah, that would be that in that regards. Let me flip the camera, the paper. And obviously, whoa, I actually missed out a comment I was meant to say in relation to Fekir, people. Oh, well, no, this is nothing to do with Fekir. This is actually Ivan Gazidis. Now, if you remember famously his Bayern Munich comments, it's like lightning has struck twice, people. And he's gassing up the thing in AC Milan. His comments that happened, I believe these comments came out in October, have come back to bite him by AC Milan fans. Now, if you've been looking at AC Milan, they're like us, they've fallen away from previous glory. They've been mismanaged in terms of spending. There's just been turmoil and random pantomime sort of stories connected with that club. But he has said, in relation to their owners and Elliot, he said, Glazides, Elliot wants to take us back to the top of Italian and world football, and we want to do it without waiting 10 and 15 years. And this is the sort of thing that entices football fans regardless of the club. And then when you fail to follow through with it, we're asking questions, people. Now, do you lot remember Nkunku? Now, I think I've made a video about Emery, and I think he's quite frankly bitching about times at Arsenal. But as much as I think he has a lot to be accountable for, and he, contributed to his own failure, in my opinion, through not having a clear system, from not getting players on his side, from, changing 1 minute 3 at the back, 4 at the back. He weren't healthy game in, game out. We obviously know he wasn't backed up properly. Again, we bought Pepe when he wanted Zaha. I still think, regardless, because you're a head coach, you've got to be able to deal with what you've got. But I don't think he was backed. Allegedly, we went for signing of Ceballos, and I'm not going to begrudge it. We went for Ceballos on loan versus signing Nkunku whenever we did, allegedly, people. Because we was linked last January for Nkunku, ironically, and last summer. I saw a report today, allegedly, that we preferred Ceballos over Nkunku, and this was reported by journalists. Don't know how valid that is. But I mean, someone's got to answer for these things, because whether it was Mislint at the time when he was here, whether it was Emery, whether it was Kahigio or anyone in the club, and they wanted Nkunku, we missed out, guys. He's doing his thing at Leipzig, people. Who did he score a banger against the other day? He's doing his thing. He's playing in the central midfield. Sometimes plays on the flanks or takes up them sort of areas in game. And he's obviously at the right place in Leipzig. He develops. You never know what could happen to you in the next couple of years. He's already better in front of goal, because in 20 appearances in Bundesliga, he's got 4 goals, 9 assists. Obviously, it's a bit different and he's at PSG, but in 55 appearances in Liga, 8 goals, 2 assists. For PSG, he grabbed 11 goals and got 4 assists in 78 appearances. In 28 appearances for Leipzig, he's got 4 goals and 10 assists, people. In all competitions this season, he's got 10 assists and 4 goals in 28 appearances and only 1 yellow card. So he's someone they're definitely going to make a profit on. And you're looking at it, I'm not going to say it's like, oh, we never signed him, it's the end of the world. But if he does continue developing, and in a year or 2 from now, he keeps developing, we're going to look like, yo, what gun? Like, it's easy. Fans are always going to say that, but we're not in a position to be buying, man. The club should have foresight and know to go and grab this thing. I'm looking at Arsenal. Yeah, man, see Martinelli. I'm a big fan of Guendouzi. Yeah, we've got Saka and Torreira. But we ain't really got them undercover gems that, that we used to go and grab probably 10 or so years ago. When we used to grab them, and at a time, even when we was arguably very not competitive, we used to get top 4, but we weren't competitive. We had players sought after for a long time from Europe's elite. And obviously, football has changed, and everybody knows what you're doing in terms of scouting operations. But we was getting man from a little Ivory Coast, from France. Do you get it? We need to go back to doing this sort of stuff with the scouting and getting it on point and finding these gems. It's not easy, but it's shown it can be done. Guendouzi is not world class, but he was signed for pennies, really, and he's, we can make a profit on him. Martinelli, do you get what I'm saying? Probably the biggest example of what happens if you scout. Mavropanos is completely different, but even if he doesn't reach first team and he develops, I don't know how much we paid for him off the top of my head, people, but surely there's a handsome profit to be made. We've got to be developing gems both for the first team and to allow us to reinvest in our team. Look at Chelsea. I think they've come out of the team as the highest net profit in Europe. I don't think they've sold too many players, but if they decided to sell Mount, Tammy, Reece James, all of these guys, how much fees are they going to make from their own academy, both academy homegrown prospects and players they've probably sourced from Europe and whatnot, people? It is in that regard. Away from that, Eddie Hearn has apparently said that Arsenal and Spurs are fighting each other to host one of Anthony Joshua's new fights, people. Apparently he said it's a North London race for this fight. Tottenham is our preference. You're a pagan already. But we're talking to Arsenal. They've come in and said, how do we make this happen? I get the feeling Arsenal would like to nick this. It could be a little one-upmanship for them. And clearly Eddie Howe knows money. His dad set the way. He was born into money and he knows how to hustle. He got the hustle from his dad. Are Arsenal legitimately interested? Is he overstating Spurs' possible interest in an attempt to pick the two together to make more pennies for everyone? That's his job and that's why he's a money man. Who knows how true it is? I think Spurs will get it. It's the newer stadium. It's like, I was about to say, Arsenal stadium's better in it. I've got to be a bit biased. But they've got the latest technology and it's a good stadium, people. So I think Spurs have got that in that regards, people. We'll see how that one develops, man. It could all just be was. Who knows, people. Let's move forward. Well, in fact, you know what? I'll save this for another vid because I'm wary of time and whatnot, and I don't want to actually have to edit this because I'm using a budget camera and recording time isn't that long. So make sure you check out the next vid. But this is all the talking points for this vid. People, as usual, big respect for supporting me, especially as we're on 19,000 subscribers now. Big respect for the constructive criticism and the nice comments you lot say from wherever you are, man. I see comments from Ethiopia today. Someone got onto me in my thing about you never shout at LA. I mean, it's mad. I've been shouting at you LA guys because It was mad when the amount of LA people tuning in with my thing, all over America, all over Africa, all over Europe and every country, man. Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, East Africa, West Africa, North Africa. Everyone in the world, we're global people, so, and it means a lot. Quickly turn that. It's even the dogs, DG Nation. See how the dog wanted a quick little feature? You want some female dogs for you, innit? Hanging with the stars and that. But on that note though, on a serious note, let me get out of it. People, DG, one love 'em, out.